The third lesson for general math is about rational functions. So first, when we say rational, rational derives its meaning from the word ratio. So when we say ratio, we are talking about fractions. So meaning to say, yung rational functions are in the form of fractions. So pag may nakita na kayong tawag nito fraction, ibig sabihin, under siya ng rational function. No need to identify the highest exponent in a given function. Basta pagka in the form of fraction siya, may nakita kayong fraction, then matik yon ay rational function. 'Di ba? Bakit natin nasabi na fraction siya? Because nung early times nyo pa sa general, hindi naman sa general math, pero like nung nag-aaral pa kayo, 'di ba, nung grade 7, I think, when we say rational numbers, 'di ba, yung rational numbers ay in the form of A over B, or lahat ng fraction, lahat ng number na maisusulat mo in the form of fraction is considered a rational number. So, ganun din dito with rational functions. Lahat ng functions na in the form of fraction ay identified siya as rational functions. So, ngayon, dahil function nga siya, hindi pwedeng number lang. Kasi pag number lang, rational number lang yon. So, paano siya magiging rational functions? Magiging rational function siya if it is a ratio of two polynomials. When we say polynomials, yung numerator natin is an algebraic expression. Same with the denominator. Pwedeng kahit na anong function siya. Pwedeng constant function, pwedeng linear function, pwedeng quadratic, pwedeng basta polynomial, basta nakakita kayo ng algebraic expression sa numerator at saka sa denominator, matik po na yun ay rational function. Basta, ang restriction niya lang is that the function in the numerator and denominator should not be equal to 0. Bakit should not be equal to 0? Kasi pag nag-0 yung numerator nyo, ang magiging sagot, 0. E di hindi na yun rational function. Constant function na yon, which is equivalent to 0. Diba? Any number na dinivide mo sa 0, or, mali pala, any number na i-divide natin sa 0, or any polynomial na i-divide mo sa 0, ang magiging sagot nito ay 0. E di pagka ganito na lang ang magiging sagot mo, f of x is equal to 0, e di hindi na yan rational function. Diba po? Same with kung ang denominator mo naman ay 0. Pag ang denominator mo naman ay 0, di ba ang sagot dito ay, tawag nito, undefined. So, hindi naman pwede yon kasi yung function mo magiging undefined. Hindi na siya rational function. Hindi din pwedeng 0 over 0 kasi yung 0 over 0 naman is indefinite, which is hindi din pwede. Kaya, basta hindi pwedeng ang maging function mo ay 0 or indefinite or undefined. Kailangan laging siyang in the form of fraction. So, hindi pwede itong mga ito. Kaya, nire-restrict natin na yung polynomial na ilalagay nyo sa numerator and sa denominator should not be equal to 0. Next, we have the graphing of rational functions. But before we graph rational functions, let us first identify the things that you will need in graphing a rational function. So, the first one is yung asymptotes. Yung asymptotes, these are the lines wherein yung graph mo will not pass through these points. Yun yung tinatawag na asymptotes. Itong asymptotes, this will be the restriction for the values of x and y. Ibig sabihin, yung asymptote na yon hindi tatama doon yung graph nyo sa graph ng rational functions. Meron talagang ganon. Hindi yun nawawala sa rational functions. So, next is yung intercepts. Yung intercepts naman, ito yung mga points that you will need in order for you to know where the graph lies in a given parang Cartesian plane for a certain rational function. So again, yung asymptotes, ito yung restriction mo na values for x and y. Ibig sabihin, hindi magko-cross or mag-overlap or mag-i-intersect yung graph natin sa lines na to, sa asymptotes na to. And then the second one is the intercepts. Yung intercepts naman, x and y intercept, these are the points that we will use so that we will know where the graph lies in a given rational function. First, let's have vertical asymptotes. Ngayon, in computing, we have to compute for the vertical asymptotes kasi yung asymptotes, that's the first thing that you have to solve before you can graph a certain rational function. So, in getting the vertical asymptote or in solving for the vertical asymptote, ang iintindihin lang natin is yung denominator. So, you just have to focus on the denominator and then you get the denominator, x minus 6 in this given function, and then equate it to 0. Laging ganon. In getting the vertical asymptote, you just get the denominator, the whole algebraic expression in the denominator, then equate it to 0, and then solve for the value of x. Ganun lang siya lagi. Then the value of x will be the vertical asymptote. So, for this given function na f of x is equal to 1 all over x minus 6, you get the denominator which is x minus 6, equate it to 0, then we will solve for the value of x. So, actually, walang transpose, diba? Nabanggit ko naman na ata yun. Pero we use the APE or yung addition property of equality. Pero same lang naman sila ng context. Yun nga lang, magkaiba ng term. Mas proper lang yung term na APE format kesa dun sa transpose. Pero, either way, the answer will still be the same. So, sige, gamitin na natin yung transpose na kinasanayan ninyo. So, transposing 6 to the other side of the equation, we will have x is equal to 6. So, meron na tayong value for x. Ibig sabihin, x is equal to 6 is our vertical asymptote or VA. So, ganun lang mag-solve ng vertical asymptote. So, let's have another one. F of x is equal to 3x plus 4 all over 2x minus 3. Wala kayong magiging pakialam sa 3x plus 4. You disregard the numerator first in getting the vertical asymptote, ha? We disregard the numerator. You get the denominator. So, that is 2x minus 3. And then, you equate it to 0. Laging i-equate sa 0. And then, we will solve for the value of x. So, solving for the value of x, you transpose 3 on the other side of the equation. So, next to solve for the value of x, we have to divide both sides by 2. Since yun yung numerical coefficient of x, and then, yun na, x is equal to cancel 3 over 2. So, x is equal to 3 over 2 is our vertical asymptote. And if you will ask me, ma'am, paano po pagka the given function is f of x is equal to x minus 6 all over 2? Paano po kukunin yung vertical asymptote for this one? For this one, kino-consider siyang, kung sasabihin nyo sa akin, ma'am, rational function siya kasi may numerator tsaka may denominator. The numerator is a linear function and the denominator is a constant function. Yes, tama naman kayo sa part na yon, pero sa math, kino-consider to na linear function. Ma'am, paano yan naging linear function? Kasi ang ginagawa nila is, we simplify this one as, or we rewrite this function as x over 2 minus 6 over 2, or simply 1/2 x minus 3. Kaya siya nagiging linear function. Hindi siya kino-consider as rational function if the denominator is just a constant function. So, kailangan maging polynomial talaga siya na algebraic expression na may value of x yung denominator so that we can get the vertical asymptote and we can also consider the given function as a rational function. Next, let's have the horizontal asymptote. So, for horizontal asymptotes, unlike in vertical asymptotes, sa vertical, we compute, diba? For the horizontal asymptotes, no need for computation, pero you have to remember these things. Yung three things or three cases natin when it comes to rational function. So, i-introduce ko muna sa inyo yung parang like denotation of a rational function. When I say denotation, parang that's how we're going to write or parang yan yung pattern ng rational function. So, sa rational function, let's say we have ax raised to n plus c. Ito yung algebraic expression sa numerator wherein a is the numerical coefficient of x and n is the exponent of the numerator, yung highest exponent ng nasa numerator. And then, sa denominator naman, we have b x raised to m plus c, wherein b is the numerical coefficient of x and then m is the highest exponent in the given function sa denominator. So, ngayon, bakit tayo nag-identify nung A, nung N, yung B, at saka yung M? Kasi you will use that one in identifying the horizontal asymptotes of a given rational function. So, may three cases tayo for this. The first case is that if N is less than M or if the highest exponent of the numerator is less than the highest exponent in the denominator, automatic, your horizontal asymptote is y is equal to 0. Okay po? Next, yung second case natin, if n daw is equal to m or the highest exponent in the numerator is equal to the highest exponent in the denominator, your horizontal asymptote is equal to y equal to A over B. Ano yung A over B? Ito yung numerical coefficient of the highest term, yung I term with the highest exponent. Tapos yung B naman, ito yung numerical coefficient of the term with the highest exponent. So, ito yung makikita nyo dito, yung numerical coefficient, yung number na katabi ng x na may pinakamataas na exponent. So, yun, yung numerical coefficient nung x. Yung A yung A at saka yung B. So, all you have to do is get those numerical coefficients, then you write it in a fraction form. Ngayon, ma'am, pag pwede pong isimplify, pwede pong isimplify. For example, 6 over 2, pwede po bang maging 3 yun? Yes po, you may. And then, for letter C naman, if n is greater than m or the highest exponent in the numerator is greater than the highest exponent in the denominator, then we don't have any horizontal asymptote, but instead, we have an oblique asymptote. When I say oblique asymptote, yun yung slant line na tinatawag. Pero, dahil general math lang naman ito, I will not include examples na may oblique asymptote. Okay po? Iiwan ko na lang siya para sa mga STEM students with pre-calculus and basic calculus. Doon nyo to ma-encounter pagka nag-graph kayo ng rational function. Pero magbibigay pa din naman ako ng example so that yung mga STEM students natin ay meron ng background for that. Pero if you're a non-STEM student, dito lang tayo sa dalawang case. We'll just stick with horizontal asymptote equivalent to 0 and a horizontal asymptote equivalent to A over B. So, yan lang yung iti-take note ninyo. So, I'll give examples how are you going to do this. Pero you must remember these cases.